This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all, and neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, being stalked is one of the most terrifying things I could ever imagine. The case I'm telling you today, a young woman was stalked for months and months, and then eventually completely disappeared. And to this day, 40 years later, no one knows what happened to her. This is the case of Cynthia Anderson. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband, Russ, true crime stories and he reacts to them.
What's up, folks? It's Russ, a.k.a. Mr. Whiskey and Beer, a.k.a. I can't think of crime because I'm only watching the Knicks this week, a.k.a. Let's Go Knicks.
Yeah, let's go Knicks.
It's all about the Knicks this week. I ain't going to bore you guys to death, but I did create a few Knicks fans within our community we have.
Oh, yeah, you did. That's right.
So if your kid ain't wearing orange and blue, you're raising them wrong.
For everyone that doesn't follow NBA, the Knicks are in the playoffs, and Russ is so excited. And honestly, me too. The games have been really good.
But for everyone that this is your first time listening to the podcast, this is a true crime podcast. I just had to get that out.
Okay. Well, interesting news last week. O.J. Simpson died.
Yeah, R.I.P. the juice.
Well, you know, there's a lot of controversy as far as people who think that he got off for that crime.
He's very infamous.
And I'm thinking about covering that case because I've heard theories that his son actually killed his wife, Nicole, and Ron. Was it Ron? Yeah.
Ron Goldman.
Yeah. So I want to research that case, and I think I'm going to cover it in an upcoming episode sometime soon.
And they had that dude, Kato Kalin, on the TV all the time to do it. Like he looked like he had like longish blonde hair and it was always kind of greasy, like
what
Kurt
was he
Cobain.
doing?
He's something to do with the case. I don't really know because I didn't care that much.
Oh, okay.
But I did see a lot of OJ in the past months, more than I've ever seen him, because he was on a podcast I watched with Cameron and Mace. It is what it is. So he would come on there as the football analysis.
Oh, wow.
So that's the most I've ever seen of OJ.
Yeah, he passed away last week, so I'd be interested to research that case because I've always been under the impression that he got away with murder, but I want to research it for myself.
I mean, the only thing I've learned from the OJ case is that if the glove don't fit,
you must acquit. Yeah.
Like, how epic is that got him off?
So true.
And all he did is open his hand really wide so it couldn't get on.
I
That's
know.
what it looked like to me.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So, in my internet travels of the week, I saw a Tampa woman that was arrested for stealing over $20,000 in designer sunglasses.
Wow.
So I watched the video. There's a video somewhere. You can look it up, folks. And she was walking through with a bag, just grabbing sunglasses, putting them in the bag. It was a reusable bag, so she's green. You know, she wasn't using a plastic. And she got arrested. And nowadays, from what most of us heard, is that you can shoplift and just take stuff and they don't do anything. But I think she was in trouble because it was over a certain amount.
Yeah.
So if the glasses are $200, you take 10. I mean, 2,000, you take 10. Mm-hmm. Now you're $20,000, and laws charge you sometimes by the value you stole.
Yeah, it's like grand theft. At that
over
point,
like
right?
$5,000 or something.
Yeah.
It's weird it didn't go up with inflation because $5,000 when they started it was worth a lot.
Yeah, true.
Now tickets in New York for speeding, I feel like, are $5,000. So she got arrested, and she was offered a plea deal of 3 years, which I'm pretty sure in her mind seemed like a lot.
Yeah.
Like 3 years for sunglasses? Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. So she turned it down, and now she was sentenced to 30 years.
30? Wow. And
So-
she turned down a 3-year plea deal.
Because
What a dummy.
She probably thought, like, no, but you don't know. Like, I probably would have been like, it's only sunglasses. I only stole like 20, 30 sunglasses, but 30 years.
Yeah, but whoever her lawyer was should have been like, no, take the plea, dummy.
That public defendant couldn't see through his baggy suit and shoulder pads jacket, probably.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, if you ever have a public defender that has shoulder pads in his jacket, that means he's still wearing his dad's suits. Just represent yourself, I guess, or just pray to whatever you believe in.
Wow, that's nuts.
All right, so as you guys know, every week I do review of the week. Mm-hmm. So you guys go write a review. I could only read the ones on Apple, but best believe I literally read every review. So if you ever want to get to me, I literally read everything. And it's because I do review of the week.
Yep.
So this is your time to shine. I can't read your name. It's really just a bunch of letters. It's titled "I Feel for Jess," 5 stars, which is funny because they're like hashtag fuck Russ. So it says, my favorite part of every podcast is when Russ randomly says something stupid and just continues talking like she didn't even hear him. Sometimes I think to myself, did you even hear what I said?
Oh, yeah, I hear everything.
I laugh every time. I imagine there's times Jess wants to take Russ to the top of a hill and see what happens.
Oh, no.
Damn. And that's very fitting for the times.
That's harsh.
This is my favorite crime podcast. Russ and Jess are amazing. Hashtag we need more episodes. Hashtag not me, not today.
Oh, that was good. That was a little bit of a roast. You said last week they need to step up their game.
Yeah.
And roast you a little bit. So that was a good one.
Yeah. If you haven't reviewed us yet, go review us. I like to check out the reviews. It's fun. As you guys know, we have a Patreon.
Yes, we do. Where we have bonus content, ad-free episodes, and depending on the tier you sign up for, you get a magnet and or a mug.
Yeah, so you get rid of commercials too if you don't like those. But shout out to our sponsors. Appreciate you. Especially we got this new one in the works, the CBD and weed gummies. I'm in.
Yes, we're going to be advertising some gummies soon. We're really excited. We got all of our samples, so stay tuned for that.
All right, so the people that joined the Patreons this week are Morgan, Marianne, Ensign Page, Nancy, Annabelle, Al, Tracy, Cassie, Steve, Richard, Lisa, Giselle, fucking Elva. Maybe that's what Elva's mom called him or her. I don't know if that's a boy or girl's name. That's a girl's name. Ends with an A, I think. Kristen, Laura, Brittany, Casey, Danny, and Veronica. So cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
I got this Baltimore local beer, Be More Hazy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's pretty solid. I mean, Bronx Brewery is still my best. They need to sponsor us.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, and a lot of people are requesting more episodes, and we're putting them out as frequently as we can with life. Mm-hmm. But we probably have about at least 50 episodes over on Patreon of some extra content if you guys want to check that out. But if not, still rock out with free episodes. Hit us up on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod. We love bullshitting with you.
Yeah, we love when you guys message us. We read everything. We try to respond to everything. And sometimes you'll get responses like months later, but we do read everything you guys send. So, to me, one of the scariest things in the world is being stalked. Being stalked is terrifying.
Didn't you do that to meet me?
No.
Have you ever been stalked?
No, I have not.
Luckily.
Thank God, because it really would scare the crap out of me. And I remember when we did another episode about a stalker a long time ago, and you brought up about how you and your mom were stalked when you were little.
Yeah, the dude write us notes and go in the mailbox and stuff. Yup.
Scary.
Yeah.
And you never found out who it was?
No, we forgot to ask my mom.
Oh, yeah, we did forget to ask her. We're going to have to ask her about that.
If we don't write it down, we won't remember.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her. Stalking can get very dangerous very quick, and it's scary, especially if the person is threatening or saying things that make someone very uncomfortable and doing it to like completely mess with your head. It's so scary because you feel like you're being watched at all times. Yeah,
well, that dude that did that to us, he was like, oh, I saw you here. You were wearing this.
Oh, my God.
He was sending letters to, it was crazy. And I was a kid. I don't know, I could have been 9 years old just running around outside with my friends.
Yeah, that's so scary.
Now kids don't even go outside at 9 years old. They're still wrapped in a bubble. It's crazy. Set those little kids free.
Well, this story that I have for you this week actually reminds me a lot of a case that we covered a long time ago, the case of Dorothy Jane Scott. And in that case, that's when you talked about how your mom was stalked when you were a kid. This story happened around the same time, and it's actually eerily similar, but it did happen in a totally different part of the country.
There's stalkers everywhere.
This story also ties in to a serial killer case we covered, because some people believe that the serial killers in that case might be suspects in the case I'm telling you today. This is the disappearance of Cynthia Anderson. Are you ready?
Yep.
Cynthia Anderson went to work on August 4th, 1981, like she did every single day, and was never seen or heard from again.
Damn, don't go to work, folks.
On the morning of August 4th, 1981, Cynthia, aka Cindy, woke up and began getting ready for her job as a legal secretary at a law firm in Toledo, Ohio. She was only 20 years old and still lived with her father, mother, and sister in her childhood home. She was raised as a Christian fundamentalist, and most everyone she hung around were also Christian fundamentalists.
Long skirts, flower dresses.
Many described her as quiet and reserved. Her father said that she could be a bit naive and trusting of those around her. She had a boyfriend, a kid she met at church, and they planned to attend a Bible college together. In fact, she'd already given her resignation and only had 10 days left at her job before leaving for college.
Do you know her job was?
A legal secretary at a law firm in Toledo, Ohio.
You said that?
Yes.
My bad.
Cindy skipped breakfast on the morning of August 4th. This is something she was doing lately because she'd recently started caring a lot more about her body and appearance. She spent more time doing her makeup and fixing her hair. She also had started a new diet. Her father found this behavior peculiar, but that could just be a dad being overprotective of his daughter, because no one else mentioned finding this strange. Okay, she's 20 years old. She's a girl. This is so normal for teenagers and young women to start wearing makeup and caring more about how they look.
20 years old, yeah, and skipping breakfast is a little weird, but it's not weird enough to draw attention to it. It's like, come on, eat healthy. You don't have to do any fad stuff.
Exactly. Nowadays, because of social media, this happens way earlier than the teens and early 20s. There's 12-year-olds putting makeup on and, caring about how they look and asking for all these designer things for Christmas and stuff.
Little kids are trying to do like makeup tutorials on YouTube and stuff.
Exactly. So she comes from this super strict background. So I think although this is mentioned a lot when you research this case, it's actually just a normal thing. And her dad was kind of blowing it out of proportion.
For sure. She's 20. Relax, Dad.
But needless to say, Cindy comes from this strict world and she's pretty sheltered. And she kind of lived in a bubble up until this point. Her only interactions outside of church folks was her customers and coworkers and bosses at the law firm she worked for. Recently, Cindy had been experiencing some really scary things. She was being stalked by an unknown person, and it was taking a huge toll on her. It all started about 6 months before she disappeared. She came to work one morning and painted on the brick wall outside of the window that her desk faced in big red letters was a sign that said, quote, "I love you, Cindy, by GW."
Oh, geez.
She was very confused because she knew no one with the initials GW.
George Washington.
She had a boyfriend, remember? And he was already away at college because he was a year ahead of her. So this wasn't him that wrote this message on the wall. This really freaked her out, but she tried not to let it get to her. Then, a couple weeks later, she started receiving strange phone calls. And this actually frightened her. No one is able to say what the caller or callers would say to her because it seems like she didn't tell anybody what they said. But she did, however, tell the attorneys that she worked for about these phone calls because they were coming to the firm as well. So she was getting phone calls at home and at work.
It's weird that she didn't tell anyone what they were saying.
True. So because of these calls and the painted sign and the fact that she would be alone often in the firm, the owners of the firm had a panic button installed under her desk. If she pushed the buzzer, the neighboring businesses would get notified that she needed help.
That's good that the job was doing that for her and supporting her. That's pretty good.
Yeah. One of the clients of the law firm, his name is Larry Mullins. He was sitting in the office one day waiting to see one of the attorneys and witnessed Cindy receive 2 calls back to back that really upset her. He said that she reacted as if the call had been obscene and disturbing. She quickly hung up the phone. The phone rang again and she answered it and then quickly hung up again. Larry later told cops that she appeared to be so extremely scared, and he himself was so shook up by Cindy's reactions that he called the police when he got home and explained to them what had happened. He told police, quote, "It looked like someone scared the hell out of her." He asked them to do a drive-by and check on her.
This is weird.
I know. It gets weirder.
I'm just weirded out by no one knows what the calls subjects are. Like, what are they saying and stuff like that they're just calls.
Yeah, you don't know what they said because she didn't tell anybody. I think that she was just like, okay, I'm leaving for college in 10 days. Let me just get through this time, you know?
But still, like, tell your mom, tell your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, if that was happening to you, who would you tell?
My mom and my husband? 100%. Because of all the weird phone calls and this giant painted sign saying, "I love you, Cindy," I firmly believe that this was becoming pretty traumatic for her, and she started having strange and disturbing dreams. Her sister later told police that Cindy told her mom about the dreams, but her mom just kind of dismissed her, saying it's no big deal. In the dreams, someone would knock on her door, come in and abduct her and murder her. She had many of these dreams in the months and weeks leading up to her disappearance. Were they dreams or were they premonitions?
I heard that you can't die in your dreams, though. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I haven't. But, like, in your dreams, you can't die.
I don't know if that's true either, but she still had dreams of being abducted and murdered. I don't know if she actually died in her dreams, but maybe it was like someone attacking her. Cindy left home around 8:30 a.m. for her job at the firm, which was only about a 20-minute drive away. The law firm was in a strip mall, and was said to be in kind of a bit of a shady part of town.
That's where all the good lawyers are, in the strip mall. You catch your good lawyers over there with the baggy suits. If your lawyer doesn't have a tailor-fitted suit, you're going to jail now.
It's true. When Cindy arrived at work, she got out of her car and locked it. She was the first to arrive at the firm, which was not uncommon. Like this is how it was all the time. As soon as she got inside the building, she would lock the front door so no one was able to come in without her knowledge or permission. Cindy was alone in the office all morning. Witnesses in the strip mall say they saw her pull into the parking spot and walk into the office. Around noon, 2 attorneys that worked at the firm arrived at the office. Their names are Jim Rabbit and Jay Feldstein.
Jim Rabbit.
They had been in meetings all morning, so when they arrived, they found the door to be locked, which, like I said, wasn't unusual. She was really freaked out lately. They knew she was freaked out, and she always locked the doors behind her.
Yeah, someone just got to knock if they want to come in.
However, what was unusual is that the mail was sticking out of the door. On any other day, when Cindy saw the mailman arrive, she would unlock the door for the mailman and let him in and get the mail from him.
Like an old person.
So
old people love the mail.
So having the mail in the door was their first sign that something wasn't right. Jim Rabbit later told police that when they arrived, the lights were on, the AC had been turned on, the radio was on, and the attorneys' desks had all been prepared for the day with like all the paperwork and stuff laid out for them, because that's what she did every day for them. The 2 men also smelled something that they thought smelled kind of like nail polish remover, which wasn't an uncommon smell because Cindy would sometimes do her nails at her desk. They called for Cindy multiple times, but she wasn't there.
You know, talking about smells, I heard something recently. I don't know if this is true, but if you ever go to drink your drink and it has a cinnamon smell, don't drink it because that's used to cover up like drugs someone will put in your drink.
Oh, like if you're out?
Yeah, if you smell cinnamon.
Interesting.
And you didn't order a cinnamony, like an apple cinnamony drink. But I heard that recently, a cinnamon. So, you know, hashtag vote for us. I'm always looking out for you folks.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah, but I could just be interneting.
No, but that's good advice if someone uses cinnamon to cover up a smell of like drugs or something.
Yeah, well, basically,
if they're going to roofie you,
you got a lemon martini and you smell a little cinnamon in that motherfucker, or if someone buys you a random drink and it smells like cinnamon.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is true or not, but if it isn't true or isn't, you didn't get the drink and you good.
Yeah, true that.
Buy your own drinks.
Wow, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you know, smelling nail polish remover wasn't unusual because she would sometimes do her nails at her desk during the day, but they called for Cindy multiple times. She wasn't there. They searched for a note because whenever she would leave the office to run an errand or something, she would always leave a note and let them know where she was going.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But there were no notes there. Also, whenever she stepped away, she put all the phones on hold, but the phones were not on hold. The attorneys immediately knew something was not right, and they called the police. Now, this is a super freaky detail that actually gives me the chills. As Jim Rabbit looked around more, he noticed that Cindy had left the romance novel that she'd been reading opened on her desk. The page the book was turned to was the only violent part of the book. And in the scene on this page, the protagonist is abducted at knife point.
This is why I think we are in a simulation.
How
folks.
crazy. Well, there's a lot of reasons for this. Could it be that she was being stalked? The person knew the book she was reading. The person read the book or found out about the story and then decided if they took her, decided to turn the book to that page? Could it be a coincidence?
It can't be a coincidence. It just has to be that this is a glitch in the matrix.
Wow.
We're in a simulation,
scary, right?
Because how is that a coincidence?
I know. That's what I'm saying. It could have been the person who hurt her or abducted her.
Do we know what book this was?
No, we couldn't find the book at all. I have no idea.
If you had to guess what book it was, can you guess?
No, it was a romance novel. I have no idea.
So it's like a Fabio book, blonde hair on a horse flowing in the wind.
Probably, yeah.
And all of a sudden he grabs her off his horse and he pulls her into the den.
The den?
Yeah, like a horse den.
Barn.
Right? A horse barn. Shout out to the horse barns.
When the police arrived, they quickly noticed that there were no signs of a struggle. In fact, everything was right where it should be. Even the bag of money that the firm kept. This let the police know that Cindy was the target. This wasn't some type of like robbery or something.
Wait, money just left. Was the money out or was it like...
Well, it was in a bag, but it was like not locked in a safe. They just kept money in the office.
So I guess like if someone would have came in and said, give me the money, she would have knew where it was. Here's the money.
Yeah, no, this wasn't a robbery. This shows like there was no sign of a struggle. The doors were locked from the inside.
Wow. So also, if you're going to rob a place, I'm not a professional robber or a robberologist, but I don't think you would go rob a law firm because they're not like collecting cash.
Exactly.
If you get a lawyer, you write a check. And nowadays, I guess you transfer money. I hate when people ask me to write a check. Like, what is this, 1985?
Exactly. So it wasn't a robbery, and it shows that Cindy was the sole target. Cindy's car keys and purse were missing, but her car was where she always parked it and was undisturbed. The police also quickly found out that her bank account had a substantial amount of money in it. But to this day, no money has ever been taken out of that account.
I wonder how much.
Yeah, I couldn't find how much either. Everything just says substantial amount of money.
Good for her. And she was a legal assistant or a paralegal or something. Mm-hmm. They don't make that much. She was saving somehow.
Police immediately began an investigation and started questioning people. They spoke to a janitor in the strip mall, and he confirmed that he'd seen her working in the office around 9:45 a.m. Her office was kind of out in the open and could be seen from the outside through this large window because, it was a strip mall.
Yeah.
It's not clear if the janitor was walking outside and saw her inside walking or if he had been working inside the firm. He just confirmed that he saw her and didn't notice anything out of the ordinary or anyone unusual. The police also questioned the mailman. He said that he arrived between 10 and 10:15 to deliver the mail, and on any other day, Cindy would see him and unlock the door to receive the mail. When he arrived that morning, though, she was not at her desk, but he noticed the lights were on, but the door was locked. He knocked a few times, but she didn't come to the door. He really thought nothing of it. She was probably in the restroom or in another office at the time. He stuck a portion of the mail through the sides of the door and then went on his way. Another thing that the police did not like was that clients who tried to call the office after 10 a.m. just got nonstop ringing. Cindy never answered the phones.
So now we could figure out when she was abducted or ran away or whatever happened.
So this alerted police to the small window when she went missing, and it had to be between 9:45 and 10. 15 minutes.
Damn, they narrowed that down well.
You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. VIIA Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious. You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, VIIA Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then VIIA Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then VIIA Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to VIIAHemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Wife of Crime #1 for 15% off your first order. Last year, save more money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you know you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. When those who worked at the businesses around there in the strip mall and the customers of the businesses were questioned, no one claims to have seen anything unusual. And this baffled the police. Also, remember that panic button?
Yep.
Cindy never pushed it. All of these facts just left police scratching their heads. In September of 1981, the month after Cindy's disappearance, police received an extremely strange phone call. The story just gets weirder and weirder. Are you ready? They hoped that it was a possible new promising lead that would point them in the direction of Cindy, or at least in the direction of her body. A woman on the other end of the call told police that Cindy was being held in a basement of a white house. According to the police, the woman sounded scared and was talking very quietly in a low whisper. When the police pushed for more information, she said she had to go. They wanted any information they could get, but especially the address or even the general location of this house.
Give me the zip code, lady.
The woman did not answer them and just abruptly hung up. But she called back shortly after. She gave the police more information. She said that there were 2 houses that were side by side, and the family owned both of the homes. She claimed that the family was out of town and that their son was home, and he was the one holding Cindy captive. This gave police little to go on because she hung up after that.
So just a white house is all they got.
2 white houses next to each other owned by the same family. And that family is out of town, and the son is holding Cindy captive in one of the basements. That's what this woman said in a low whisper and then hung up again.
Sounds like she was either a relative of the people or abducted as well.
Or could it have been a prank phone call?
I don't know.
People like to insert themselves into things.
But how did people already know she was missing? Was it on the news?
Yeah,
or
this
something?
was a month later. So this was already been on the news and everything.
Oh.
So this gave police little to go on. However, they reacted quickly and went searching for these houses. There are so many houses that are side by side. They couldn't get a positive location. And this left everyone super frustrated, and the case goes cold. Remember that creepy I Love You, Cindy painting? Well, authorities questioned everyone they could with the initials GW. Interestingly, a maintenance man who had keys to the office Cindy worked at had the initials GW.
Oh, if it's not him, that poor bastard.
Police searched for evidence and questioned him, but they came up with nothing to tie him to the spray painting, let alone Cindy's disappearance. Years later, okay, this is like years down the road, after this case has been cold for a while, a woman came forward and said that her boyfriend had actually spray painted that for her. Her name was also Cindy, and his initials were GW.
This is weird.
He had died 2 years after Cindy's disappearance in a motorcycle accident. The woman said that she and her boyfriend used to hang out at Pizza Hut, and they always sat in the same booth. And from where they sat, the wall that the graffiti was on was like straight in front of them and very visible.
This is such this coincidence. Like,
I
come
know.
on. And first of all, I stopped going to Pizza Hut when they got rid of the salad bar.
Well, why these two never came forward during the actual investigation, no one is quite sure about. But it is thought like maybe they didn't want to get involved because they didn't want to look like, strange or suspects or anything like that.
They could have been from the Bronx where once there's an investigation, even if you know something, that's not really my business. I'm just going to keep going and doing my thing.
They were only 18 at the time and probably scared of the police. So Cindy's disappearance was once again brought into the media years later in 1998 when her boss at the time, Richard Neller, who is one of the owners of the law firm, was arrested and indicted along with a friend of his named Jose Rodriguez Jr. for drug distribution in Toledo. So the police announced that they believe Cindy had been killed by Neller because she knew too much. They think she overheard Neller and Rodriguez discussing the drug deals that they had going on the side. During Rodriguez's trial, an informant testified that Rodriguez had actually confessed to killing Cindy. It was stated that the killing was to send a message to Neller for not representing Rodriguez well in a previous trial. Neller, according to the witness, did not do everything he could at the trial that he was representing Rodriguez in, and he kind of like sandbagged the case for Rodriguez.
That's what Rodriguez thinks.
That's what he thinks. Unfortunately, neither of these claims could be confirmed or corroborated with evidence. In the end,
corroborated.
In the end, neither Neller nor Rodriguez were ever charged in the disappearance of Cindy because there's really no evidence. This is just an informant. And you know how, that can be very iffy.
You can't just go off so someone says it needs to be evidence. So I agree with that because I've, a lot of times in these episodes, there'll be a jailhouse snitch.
Yeah.
And someone in a jailhouse will say anything to get time knocked off their case or even get some oodles and noodles.
Yeah, no, 100%. Sadly, her parents both died before they ever found out what happened to their daughter. Cindy's mother died just 2 years after her disappearance from cancer in February of 1983. Her father died in January of 2008. He never moved out of the home that he lived in with Cindy and his family, and he never changed his phone number, hoping that one day he would answer his phone and she would be on the other end, which is honestly so heartbreaking. He wanted everything to be the same if she ever came home. He never gave up hope that Cindy was alive and would one day be found. In fact, he is quoted saying, quote, "If she herself is out there, we want her to know we love her and we certainly want her to come back. Whatever the case may be, the door is open. We certainly want anybody and everybody that can possibly help in this situation to do so." So let's talk about the possible theories in this case, okay? Theory number 1 is the one I just talked about. Neller or Rodriguez killed Cindy. And this is plausible because when drugs are involved, a lot of foul shit can happen. I feel like, however, if Rodriguez actually confessed to the crime and it could be substantiated, the police would have done that. So I don't know if I believe this. It just said it was an informant. Like, it could be, like you said, a jailhouse snitch. And in those types of situations with jailhouse snitches and stuff, it's really hard because they'll say anything.
Yeah, the motive is to just do something that's beneficial to them.
Another theory is that Cindy ran away to start a new life.
You see that?
Some believe she created an elaborate plan to get away and begin a new life. They think the dreams and phone calls were made up to help her disappearance more believable. Some people think it was with and for a new man she might have been seeing. They point to her sudden focus on her appearance and weight. There have been a few unsubstantiated reports of people seeing her in Texas, but no evidence to support this. Police say that everything they've learned about her leads them to believe she wouldn't do this. Cindy's sister cannot think of any reason she would willingly disappear. She said that Cindy was looking forward to her job being over in 2 weeks so that she could start classes at the college with her boyfriend. Now, when you watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, which, they're like one of my favorites, I watched their coverage of this case. And Ryan totally buys into this theory. In fact, he says that the only one that actually makes sense is her running away. The doors being locked from the inside of the law firm, the book being turned to the only page in the novel with an abduction scene. Did she Gone Girl herself?
So she did that. She's Gone Girl before Gone Girl.
I don't think she did it. I don't think she Gone Girled herself. Her social security number has never been used again in the 40 plus years since she disappeared. Also, earlier I told you about her bank account had a significant amount of money in it. It was never touched.
So where would she go without money?
Exactly. So her social security card was never used, or number was never used. The money was never touched in her account. So, like, I totally disagree with Ryan. I don't know how he's so firm on this. I don't think she just ran away to start a new life. Number 3, Cindy was killed by a stalker. Some believe that the graffiti messages point to this. They believe that the person had been watching her for months and knew when the attorneys were not at the firm. How would this person get to her to unlock the door? Maybe it was someone she knew. Maybe it was a friend, quote unquote.
But how about if she's there and she's like, the door, she answers the doors and stuff. If someone knocks, she's like, oh, open the door. Okay, the lawyers will be here at 12 o'clock. You come back and visit them for a consultation or whatever's going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you would open the door if someone knocks, I assume.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't look disheveled and just look like a regular person.
Yeah, that's true. The claim made by the other Cindy, the one that said that her boyfriend painted that mural on the, with the spray paint.
Yeah, where's the boyfriend to
He died in a
corroborate
motorcycle accident.
Damn, right now?
I told you
he did
that
before.
He died in a motorcycle accident like 2 years after Cindy disappeared. And this lady didn't come forward for years later.
Then I don't know what to say about that. Why she wait so long?
So she didn't come forward until years later, and a lot of people think it's just a person inserting herself into the case. The media reported on the graffiti wall way back when the crime occurred, and this other Cindy and her boyfriend never told anyone? Also, this new information only came out years later after the other Cindy posted on a random message board. It wasn't even told to police. So as far as the investigation is concerned, the graffiti wall is still a very relevant detail in the case. Number 4, Cindy was killed by serial killers.
I don't even know where we're going now.
Way back in early 2023, I told you about a crazy case of a serial killing duo, brothers Nathaniel and Anthony Cook.
I don't remember.
The episode was called Oh Brother, so go back and listen to it, Russ.
Every time, I got to work on my memory. I need some ginkgo biloba or something.
Well,
they sold out the call in bulk. I got to pull up.
You need to do something.
I remember you.
They have been accused and found guilty of raping and killing at least 9 people, mostly couples, between the years 1973 and 1981 in Toledo.
That's very aggressive if you're getting couples.
Yeah.
Because, normally I'd feel like people try to get one person, but going with 2 people, they're like looking for a fight.
I told you this story. You got to go back and listen to the episode.
It probably was a good episode, folks. Go check it out.
In the summer of 1981, Cindy disappeared in August of that year. At least 4 other young people were killed in the Toledo area.
But missing or just killed randomly?
Killed.
And they found those bodies?
Yes. Both brothers deny having any involvement in Cindy's disappearance. It is possible, some people believe, that one or both abducted and killed her.
Possible. But I wouldn't say that we know anything.
Yeah, I know. A side note, the attorneys, spoke about that smell of fingernail polish remover when they arrived at the firm. Well, chloroform has a similar smell to acetone, which would definitely point to foul play. This, however, was never discussed by police or experts, so I'm guessing they didn't make this connection. However, our researcher, Marcy, did. Go Marcy. She made that connection. So go her for figuring that out. That's really cool.
I wonder if she smelled both in person.
No, I think she just looked it up.
Because if she would have smelled the chloroform in person, she'd like, smells like acetone. Whew, I fell asleep. I'm back.
Cindy was last seen wearing a white V-neck dress with pink pinstripes, cinnamon brown legs brand pantyhose, beige open-toe ankle strap shoes, a sapphire ring, and a gold watch.
Very accessorizable.
She has a chickenpox scar on her forehead and a 1/2-inch scar on her right knee that is shaped like a fishhook. Anyone with any information is asked to call the Toledo Police Department at 419-245-3340. And that's it. That's where this cold case is. 1981, 42 years later.
She went missing the year I was born.
Yeah.
So she's like 60 now, if she's out there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I could see how Ryan would say, oh, she was in this really strict upbringing. Maybe she was tired of living like that and she wanted to get away. There's too many coincidences here. The book was turned to that page. The locks were locked from the inside.
But if someone...
how did she disappear if the locks are locked from the inside?
But if someone took her, they could have locked it on the way out.
How?
All right. This is how. So my sister Carrie comes over, caca girl.
Mm-hmm.
We go outside to grab something real quick. Me and Jess don't normally lock the doors. She has a...
No, we lock the doors. We just lock the deadbolt and not the handle door.
Yeah, but she has a reflex to lock the handle door every time she walks out of the house.
Yeah.
Even in our house when we're trying to leave it open to go out and we're not bringing our key with us.
Yeah.
So some people have a reflex to lock the door. Like I have a reflex to lock the door. You didn't until I met you because I had to beat that into your head, not physically, but verbally about locking the doors.
Okay, but the thing that you have to remember is this is a strip mall. It's not a regular door. It's one of those like glass doors for a business. Like you need a key. So did the person abduct her and lock the door with her key?
Maybe.
Possibly. But then all these witnesses say they didn't see anything unusual. Someone's holding her and abducting her. Do they have time to lock the door?
Listen, I'm not an abductor. I'm just stating that maybe someone would have locked the door on the way out.
I know, but you have to think through it, and it doesn't make sense. Unless there's another exit that is more private that people didn't see, like maybe through a back door. That's a possibility. That maybe they went through a back door instead of the front door because there's way less witnesses.
Maybe she was raptured.
So I just don't know if I don't know what to believe about this one.
No one knows.
It's like such a head scratcher.
I think that whoever was calling her kidnapped her.
You think that now, how do you feel about this other Cindy? Because she didn't come forward for years later, and she came forward on a message board. She didn't even call the police.
I have to look at a picture of her and see if she's a kook.
I mean, but I don't think there is a picture of her. It just was a message board.
Yeah, because if the picture is a selfie of her from a flip phone from the nose up on her Facebook, you can't believe her.
Okay.
We all have a relative that does that, and we all know they're crazy.
Okay.
Right now, there's a listener like, God damn it, I got to fix my picture.
I think that the two most plausible theories are there was a stalker, an unknown stalker who did this, or possibly she was killed because of the drugs, because Neller and Rodriguez. If you think about that, she would have known Rodriguez because he would have come to the firm. So
where is Neller and Rodriguez in all of this? They're just gone. They question
Neller
them.
was the owner of this didn't happen until 1998. They didn't get indicted until 1998, and this crime happened in 1981.
Indicted? So they're in jail for drugs.
Rodriguez is. Neller, I think, might possibly still be in jail. I don't know. But they didn't get indicted until years later. And when they got indicted, it came out that this informant said Rodriguez was responsible for murdering Cindy because she overheard too much information about the drug deals.
You know what? I kind of believe that one.
So that's the thing. Like, that's very plausible. I do think it's plausible, but then you're dealing with like a jailhouse snitch situation.
That too. What does the informant?
You're
like,
probably going to ask me a question I don't know.
But what does the informant tend to gain from saying that? So if he's able to gain any type of privileges in jail, then he has a motive. His motive is just a selfish motive.
Exactly. So that's why they were never, I think they couldn't substantiate it with any evidence. So Neller or Rodriguez were never charged with her murder or abduction, or never charged with anything. Her body's never been found.
And those two are in jail?
Yeah, they went to jail. I don't know how long they got for this, but
could be.
One thing that makes that a possibility is the fact that it was locked. The place was locked from the inside, which means that she might have known the person because there was no sign of a struggle.
And the chances are she didn't disappear on her own because it's been 40 years and nothing has popped up.
Yeah, I don't think she
like her social security's not out there. Like, it's unfortunately she's probably gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately she is dead, but yeah, I definitely think it could have been the stalker. I also don't really know. I think Nathaniel and Anthony Cook, they definitely targeted couples, and I feel like there might have been some evidence to prove that they did it if it was them. So I'm more on the possibly the drug dealing thing, or possibly a stalker. But that's it. That's all we know. There was an Unsolved Mysteries episode about this case years back.
That has to do with like the cool voice.
Yeah, Robert. I got his name wrong last time.
Dick Wolf.
It's either Robert Stack or Robert Slack. I can't remember which one, guys. But last time I said the wrong last name, everyone yelled at me.
Listen,
about
guys,
it.
you go figure it out. If you correct me, correct your mama.
So there is a Unsolved Mysteries episode about this case. And, you know, if you have any information at all, you can call the Toledo Police Department. But this one's definitely a head scratcher. And it reminded me of the Dorothy Jane Scott case so much. If you haven't heard that case, we did that one probably in 2022, maybe even 2021. But that one was a long time ago. And it's so similar to this one. Really similar.
All right, folks. So I guess we've reached that time where you go to wifeofcrime.com. Check out the dope merch so you can look as fashionable as me. We don't sell sneakers. You got to get your own sneakers, though.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning back in. Have a wonderful week. We appreciate you so much, and we will talk to you later. Check us out on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod, Facebook at Wife of Crime The Crime Family, and Patreon at Wife of Crime Pod.